Oh, man. Someone once said it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Now, after last night's Sixers game and it's 8 a.m. in the morning, I'm wondering if they were meaning AM or PM. Because after last night's Sixers loss, I really feel like drinking at 8 a.m. We're live talking everything about that Sixers game. Phillies are on the agenda. Eagles NFL draft. Trending in the AM. We're live in 1 minute, taking all your opinions. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You know the drill. Whichever platform you are watching on, make sure you hit those like, share, follow, subscribe buttons. Get the word out. Trending in the AM, the number one morning show out there, the number one show where your opinions actually matter, the only show where your opinions actually matter. And we're here. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, at Bearded Knowledge on all social media platforms. We are here. We are here because the Philadelphia 76ers continue to suck the life out of us on a year-by-year basis. We are here because we're glutton for punishment. We're here because we just keep coming back for more. And there's a lot of excuses that we could throw out there on why the Sixers lost last night. We are going to get into the NBA officiating for sure, 1,000%. But man, it is so difficult I don't know if being a Sixers fan is more difficult or not than being a fan of the Flyers, the Phillies, the Eagles, whatever. But man, come playoff time in the NBA, it sure feels like being a Sixers fan is the most frustrating, difficult out of the big four there. It really, 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 truly does. Because last night was another game where we were right there. We had victory in the palm of our hands and a combination of team errors, refereeing errors, bad calls, this, that, and the third, ghost timeouts. So many things that victory was ripped right out of our hands. We're one of the most passionate fan bases out there. And we just cannot we just can't get over the hump. And I don't want to say that losing last night ended the season for the Philadelphia 76ers, but let me tell you something. The end of the season is not far off with the way that game went. What's up, Mitchie Poo? Yeah, it was a good little intro there, man. Thank you. I think Al made that. What is up, everybody? Joe, Phil, top 4 worst loss in my watching of the Sixers. Kawhi bounce, Game 6 last year, Hawks loss. Yeah, man, I could comment, Joe, on all those losses in detail. And last night just happened to be the most recent, so I might bump it up. I did see someone saying that was worse than the Kawhi bounce. Game 6 last year was just a bad game, so I don't know if I'd put that above it. And that Hawks loss, man, in 21, man, brutal. But anyway, guys, we are brought to you here trending in the AM on EOP Sports by plenty of great sponsors, and I'm just going to shout out a few of them right now. Great moments don't just happen; they happen with you in the crowd. SherryTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less, play more. SherryTickets.com. Get the tickets you want. You could save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10 and share an experience that will live on. Don't pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard to come by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, call them directly 610-494-5050. SherryTickets.com. They also have great theater and concert tickets. Remember, don't overpay with the rest. Save with the best. SherryTickets.com. Promo code EOP10. Right? That's SherryTickets.com. Guys, 104-101. Sixers lose to the Knicks. They're now down 2-0. And let's just get right into the officiating. Let's get right into that because there's other things we could talk about. We can talk about the guts of Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. We could talk about the lack of production from anyone else on this team. We can talk about Tobias Harris being at least somewhat energetic last night, at least somewhat productive last night. We can talk a lot of positives and we could talk negatives. But man, right now, all I could think of is the referee. And the refereeing in this series specifically, but refereeing and officiating as a whole. Always see you, TMZ. Good morning, my man. It was bad. Again, I got crushed after game one for pulling clips of Joel Embiid having his jersey pulled, like ripped right off of his body and no foul being called. And it was just a microcosm of what happened in game one. Now, in game two last night, the refereeing was even worse. And I'm not one to blame referees or officiating for losses. And you know what? In the end, that's not the final reason or the main reason or the number one reason we lost that game. It's not. We kicked ourselves in the butts plenty of times last night. There were plenty of reasons other than the referees on why we lost last night. But to think that we were up 5 with what? 1/10 of a second left, that's what it felt like. And we blow that game. We're up 101-95 with like 30 seconds left. Now you can blame the inbound pass from who was it to Maxey that it was a poor job there. But when Tyrese Maxey is straight being mugged trying to catch the ball, when he falls down and catches the ball, when you see Nick Nurse multiple times trying to call timeouts and not just going like this, waving his hands in the air, and it's not called, you got to question it. You got to question the motives of the NBA referees and the officiating in the NBA. And I hate to be conspiracy theorist. I do. I hate it. But if you don't watch those games and think that there is some kind of conspiracy going on, then I don't know what to tell you. I always say your opinions actually matter. If you think the refs do not have an agenda, not just last night, but in sports in general, you're blind. Yeah. Poor all of Sixers Nation right now. Lowry was inbound in the ball. Yeah. So you could blame it was not an ideal pass. He could have held the ball and called the timeout in that situation. So you could blame Lowry to an extent. Man, staying up late for playoff games, man. Mess up my sinuses. There's a lot you could blame. But there was clearly timeouts called. There was clearly fouls called in those missed in those final 30 seconds. That is just the way the Sixers season went this year. We started hot and then just spent the second half of the season cooling off. And the first 2 games, Duck, yes, we started hot and we cooled off in those first 2 games as the game went on. And it's a shame because you had Tyrese Maxey obviously battling the flu, dropping buckets all over the place, playing his heart out. You have Joel Embiid literally hobbling down the court every possession, dropping buckets. You got him. He could barely see. I think everyone's overreacting to Joel Embiid in the locker room after the game, hit with his hand over his face. Probably everybody thinks he's hiding his tears. No, he's trying to cover his face up from the light. There's a reason why he's been wearing glass sunglasses 24/7 outside the game. Because something's wrong with that eye that he was poked in. And the bright lights hurt, that's a violation on the media keeping their bright lights on him. Should have, obviously been able to tell that the lights were affecting him. But this is just the last two games, just a microcosm of this Joel Embiid process error. That, if anything, I'll blame Sam Hinkie. Sam Hinkie had to decide to monetize the process. Everybody tanks. Sam Hinkie just found a catchy catchphrase for it to make money on it. And if he doesn't do that, they don't get mad at us, and who knows what happens. But I really, truly, firmly believe that there's an initiative from Adam Silver. We cannot let the Sixers win. And I don't know why. It's so blatantly obvious. The L2M, and a lot of people are learning about this year. There's a report that comes out after games, the last 2-minute report, okay, from the officials of missed calls and things that they realize they messed up on. And the Sixers have the biggest, they lead the league in the most mistakes, I guess, the differential in the mistakes and what it affected wise. It's pathetic. It's pathetic that it's so blatantly obvious. And yet these refs miss so many calls. These refs mess up left and right, yet they're still out there. You still have the same refs in the NBA that, what did I see? The Knicks are 5-0 when that ref guy or last night's lead ref calls game. Like, I don't get it. Do these leagues not hold their referees accountable? Joel Embiid, little shove, gets teed up. Ticky-tack technical, whatever. He's going to get fined, because when you get a technical, you get fined. Do the refs get fined ever? Can we get the NBA to start publicizing when they hold their officials accountable? Can they start showing us their fines, showing us their suspensions? No, they're not going to do that. They're going to sweep it under the rug. Yeah, the UFL is going on. We're still not. I'd rather talk about last night's defeat than the UFL. Yeah, that freaking refs, man. Linda Ruffback, I don't know who that is. Tobias finished with 10 points. He had 10 points in the first half. Tobias Harris is not. There's no besmirching of Tobias Harris today, Mitchie Poo, because outside of Embiid and outside of Tyrese Maxey, he was the third best Sixer in the game last night. He might not have put up 20 points. Ricky Botalica might have been wrong with those 23-point prediction that he had, but he had heart and hustle out there all game long, Mitchie Poo. Tobias Harris was a positive last night, not a negative. He played with some heart. He played with some hustle. He grabbed a bunch of rebounds. He was in there doing the thick things. He was playing good defense. You cannot tinfoil Phil. What's tinfoil Phil mean? I'm missing that one right there, my man. Refs or Tobias Harris? Refs were the bigger problem last night. Thought this was Tobias's best game in about 3 weeks. I don't disagree, Joe, with you one bit. Won't show up in the stat line, but he had amazing chase down to get to the Brunson at the corner three. In the fourth, there were plenty of instances where his defense, the dirty work that he did last night will go unnoticed, 1,000%. Just so you know, Tobias Harris had a game last night. Just because you are paranoid doesn't exclude someone actually being after you. Yeah. Tinfoil Phil, because I'm conspiracy theory. Okay, now it's all making sense. Only UFL hold refs accountable and transparency. Yeah, I doubt it. Nobody holds anybody transparent. Mitch, not a Tobias fan. Most people are not. Thumbs it up 12. Yes, let's get those likes up in there. Yes, facts. Tinfoil Phil. Look, I'm typically not a conspiracy theorist person. But K1, am I wrong? Am I wrong that there feels like there's an agenda against the Sixers on a regular basis? If I'm wrong, tell me. There is a reason why The Sixers are constantly having these kind of games go against them. And everybody, oh, well, Joel Embiid's the flopper and he gets plenty of calls, blah, blah, blah. Well, Jalen Brunson gets plenty of calls too and is a bigger flopper. On Jalen Brunson, didn't they create a rule change so that the fails, the lean back into the defender, what's it called, the grift fail or whatever, drifting back into the defender, didn't they create a rule that is not allowed anymore, that is an offensive fail? Yet Jalen Brunson has had about 7 fails in 2 games called just on that play alone. There was a big momentum swing last night at one point in the middle of the game. I think it was Kelly Oubre got called for a foul on Brunson leaning back into him. It's like, what the hell? Why change the rules if you're not going to follow them? I am the gatekeeper. I am. I guess that would fit with tinfoil Phil for sure. If I was a league, I would push Lakers. Lakers look like they're going down again to the Nuggets. Phil angling for a spot in InfoWars. I don't know what InfoWars are, but maybe, sure. Adam Silver hasn't wanted them to win since the process, and he even paid a driver to take out Kelly Oubre. Man, we never got conclusion or conclusive info on that situation, did we, this year, Joe? But there's a reason they forced Colangelo here. They forced Hinkie out of the league. And obviously, there's an agenda against the Sixers. Obviously, the NBA wants an Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks, 2 of the top sports media markets there are, which is crazy because you'd think they'd want Philly because Philly is just as big of a media market and a fan base. But, yeah, we're just as passionate, too. We're going to get into passion in a second as well. Charles says, good morning from Nassau. Oh, man, it's cold here. 35 degrees this morning. Charles, I'm assuming Nassau is a little warmer, and I am excessively jealous that you're in the Bahamas right now, and I am not. I'm stuck in South Coatesville right now. Time for UFL football. No. Fred Burns. There were fouls not called. Nick Nurse was a bit indecisive on the timeout, and it should have been called, but both Kyle Lowry and Maxey should have called. I said that right away, too, that I would put it mostly on Lowry. Maxey was still trying to, gather himself as he was diving for that ball. But, yeah, that's just as much on Lowry as it is on Nick Nurse. I don't know if I would say he was indecisive. He was holding it there, but then you clearly see him going like this and flailing his arms around. It was just not pleasant situation right there. And then, you want to blame whoever. How about we blame the Sixers also? Because I don't want it to seem like I'm only blaming the refs, because I am not. And yes, Matty B, I believe in this truly. I don't typically do. I'm not blaming them for the loss, the refs. I am blaming them for being terrible at their job. But it's still on the Sixers. Because you know what? The Sixers still had time to tie the game up at the end. They dribble the ball up. I don't know if they were out of timeouts at that moment or not. With whatever 6 seconds left, Maxey stands there. Embiid stands there. Maxey throws the ball to Embiid. Embiid stands there and waits till the shot clock expires, or the game clock expires, to hoist up a 30-foot three-point shot. What the hell happened in the last 6 seconds of the game? You're telling me you couldn't get one person to even take a fadeaway, low percent three-point shot? You had to wait till the clock expired to do that? Like, that was pathetic. No, everyone's talking about the refs. I'm talking about the refs. Everybody's talking about the refs. No one's talking about the fact that no one wanted to shoot that last shot. And they waited for the clock to expire to do it. That is an underrated mistake, problem, thing that went wrong last night. Phil got the notebook of knowledge. My notebook's down there. I haven't used my notebook in like 2.5 weeks. He is the tip of the spear. I'm just a spoke in the wheel, my man. Adam Silver thing is the most idiotic take I have ever heard. Nah, no way. There is an extreme hatred towards the Sixers for monetizing losing. That's what it is. Adam Silver is turning the frogs. Also, what about the other 3 standing around the entire inbound and then not boxing out? Dude, the boxing out, there was a play, Fred, that really irked the living hell out of me. And I believe Kate Scott and Ala actually comment on it. There was a point in the game, I think it was in the third quarter, that Paul Reed boxed out really well, but then forgot to actually grab the rebound. Mitchell Robinson grabs the rebound, I think it was, or maybe it was OG, and then puts the ball back up for 2 points. Like, little things like that. The little mental mistakes the team made throughout the game are what caused the loss, not the referees. Now, the referees could have re-swayed it in our favor by making more favorable calls, but the refs aren't the final reason why we lost. We lost for lack of execution. We lost because outside of Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, no one even showed up to play the first 2 games, let alone last night. So, Phil, now you see what they mean by the hate us and we don't care. I do care. You know me, Duck. I want everybody to like us. Absolutely 100% paradise. Man, I love a good trip to the Bahamas, my man. I do. Philadelphia 76ers needs to know how to close out games. Closing out games, Charles, has been an issue for as long as I've been a Sixers fan. When was the last time the Sixers actually closed a preseason game out confidently? A close game confidently. It's insane. Mike, what's up? Yeah, glad to be here. Do the 76ers come back in this series? Mike, great question. While it's hard for us Sixers fans, while it's hard for Sixers Nation to see a light at the end of the road, you gotta think that something will change once they're back in front of the Philly crowd. You gotta think some of those home calls will sway the Sixers' way on Thursday night. You gotta think that there's a chance. If you don't think there's a chance, then that's not wrong, because it's very hard to have that confidence right now. It really, really, truly is. But there is a chance. It's just really, really hard to see the path to getting that to happen at this point. Mike in the house. Everybody's in the house. In crunch time, have to stay focused, disciplined, and there was no focus, no discipline at all. So the NBA, so the NBA is the World Wildlife Federation or Foundation? Why is the NBA an animal rescue place? See what I did there? Look, you guys always say fired up Phil is more entertaining Phil. Oh my God, somebody's commenting on Twitch. People watch us on Twitch. Wow. Hey, about that. Hey, what's up? I don't know how to say Diggs, by the way, won. Kane, what's up, my man? Nurse is not a good coach, period. And Morey sucks. Two things I could tag into this, and I got to get to my next ad read here in a minute, Kane. But I want to go on the second part of this, and Morey sucks. I blame a lot of the problems on last night and on Daryl Morey, too. This team has been, Kane, if you're new to my program, you don't know this, but anybody that's been watching me for the last 3 years knows I think Daryl Morey is the most overrated executive in the NBA, period, flat out. He's terrible at his job. The lack of a well-built team right now. There's nobody. There's nobody to call on. You got one need, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey, who's running a fever, carrying your team. And nobody else can step up and make a shot. It's pathetic. Pathetic. And Nick Nurse, things were supposed to be different under Nick Nurse. This is the same Sixers team under Nick Nurse as Doc Rivers. I mean, maybe it's Nick Nurse's fault. Maybe it's the team's fault. Homer, sour tears. That's all this is. Isn't that what being a fan is? Overreacting? Reacting to the isn't this what it's to be a fan? Are we supposed to just accept the losses? Aren't we allowed to let our feelings and emotions come out? Also, need to face the fact Hartenstein went 7 for 8 with dude, between Hartenstein and Josh Hart and McBride in the last 2 games. Like, what the hell? Josh Hart's like 8 of 13 from 3. Like, that just doesn't happen. And then Hartenstein, that little push shot, I actually love it. That was a shot I used to use playing basketball a lot. A little push shot like that. It's a good shot. I used to do a push like baby hook. It was very effective for me. Sorry. There we go. Nurse should have called a timeout before Lowry inballed. He tried. Lowry should have called the timeout. Nick Nurse tried a second time to call a timeout. Tyrese Maxey tried to call timeout. Timeouts just weren't getting given, Josh. And thanks for tuning in, my man. Appreciate it. Tune in tonight to Fairway to Heaven, Josh. Fairway to Heaven, 6 p.m. right here, Edge of Philly Sports. We're going to talk about some Scotty Scheffler tonight. So make sure you tune in for that, Josh. At least Phil got his mouse. Yes, my mouse is working. I got myself a little extender, so I have more USB plugs. Yeah, man. I got my mouse back up and going right here. As fans, we are entitled to compensation. Oh, was that a queue up? Do you want me to queue up here? I think K1 loves to queue me up for things. So we're going to queue that up right there. If you get hurt at work or are disappointed in the Sixers' loss or hurt in a motor vehicle accident or upset at the NBA referees or personal injury affected by criminal law, anything, call my man, David R. Cherry of the Cherry Law Firm. He's here to fight for you and get you what you deserve. Cherry Injury Law, a dedicated, well-established personal injury law firm built on the promise of aiding the seriously injured throughout the state of Pennsylvania. We're kind of personally injured after last night's Sixers game mentally. If you have been seriously injured by the negligence of another, if you have any questions in Westchester media personal injury law, do not hesitate to call him. David R. Cherry, 610-565-0300. Go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your rights. Again, that number, 610-565-0300 or cherryinjurylaw.com. Thank you, K1. I wonder if you could sue the Sixers or the NBAs of the world for emotional distress. You probably could. Yeah, EOP is on Twitch. That is right. Buddy Hield, who I thought 3-second picks was way too much. Buddy Hield's just useless. Like, completely useless in the play. He's been completely useless since the 4th game that he played in Philadelphia. What do you have, 3 or 4 20-plus point games? And that's it. We were all calling Buddy Hield the next big thing. I know I did. But, man, he's been bad. He's exactly who he really was. Nick Nurse needs some stronger dosages, NBA style, for the Philadelphia 76ers name. He needs something. Toughness. Nurse isn't calling pick and rolls at the 28-foot line. They were getting bullied by Knicks defenders. Toughness on the floor. The team is lacking toughness for sure right now. Marshawn, what's up? It is unacceptable to lose the way the Sixers lost last night's ref or no ref controversy. Exactly. Because we are blaming the refs for some of the outcome, but we are also blaming the players and the coaches and the GM of this Sixers team for all of it. Because there were plenty of opportunities for the Sixers to put this game away before the final 30 seconds of the game. I want a lawyer who will fight for me and get what I deserve. Well, I deserve an NBA championship, and I ain't getting it. Winners never quit. Quitters never win. Oubre should have called. He should have. Look at the guy, David. Look at this guy. Yeah. I love that you guys comment. It's extra promotion for these guys when you comment on their things. Buddy Hield. Look, Buddy Hield. And now I'm saying it. Buddy Hield. Like, what? Who is he? Like, what's he doing? He played 15 minutes last night. 1 of 3. He made 1 layup. He had missed 2 3-pointers. That's it. He had a rebound. Ooh. Like, what's he doing? Like, you know how much it would have helped if Buddy Hield just made a couple shots last night? If Buddy Hield wasn't scared to shoot? Like, when Buddy Hield was traded to Philly, and my regulars, the Core 12, they know this. I said he was a shooter. He's a sniper. He's a guy that's just going to go out there and shoot. Now, he showed some defensive prowess, ball handling in his first few games. But Buddy Hield is a shooter. And a shooter that won't shoot is a wasted roster spot. Nick Nurse could have gone anywhere. Nick Nurse could have used Buddy Hield and used him more in the game last night. Didn't do it because Buddy Hield won't shoot. Well, if Buddy Hield won't shoot, then try Ricky Council or try KJ Martin. Try somebody. Let somebody go out there. We talked yesterday on the show. Nick Nurse needed to make adjustments. Nick Nurse had to out-coach Tom Thibodeau. Well, those things didn't happen. That goes back up to that comment earlier. Is Nick Nurse not a good coach? Because I don't know. The bench didn't show up. The bench hasn't shown up in a while. The refs did for the Knicks. Ryan, I agree. But so it's not just the refs' fault. It's the bench's fault. It's some of the starters' fault. We're going to crush Buddy Hield. What about Kelly Oubre? What has Kelly Oubre done? I know he had 5 steals in game 1. The guy's supposed to be a scorer, but he's not. I will say this about Buddy Hield. I think he's being exposed in these big moments because I don't think he's a starter. He's a starter on a bad team. He's going to get you big points on a bad team. That whole stretch when Joel Embiid was out, he was getting big points. Why? Because we were a bad team. But on a good team, against other good teams, Kelly Oubre will be exposed of being an okay player. He should be coming off the bench playing 18 to 22 minutes. Now, I know the Sixers don't have a better option to start because Buddy Hield's scared to shoot because Nicholas Batum can only play so much because Rocco and DeAnthony Melton. Man, if we could get I just thought of that. If we could get DeAnthony Melton back to answer the question from earlier, can they come back? Maybe if DeAnthony Melton, maybe he could be the piece that sways this team. He could shoot. He plays great defense. Got some heart and hustle. I don't know how much hustle he could have with his bad back, but man. By the way, did anybody notice the fan who kept walking out on the baseline on the right side? I did not. I did not notice that at all. I did notice Tom Thibodeau standing out in the middle of the court. And I thought that was a bit extreme. There was a timeout called, but Oubre called the refs and their yeah, man. Oubre does have some fight, some dog mentality in him. Problem is, it's useless, at this point. Does David Archeri handle class action lawsuits? You know what? I think we should ask him. I think we need to get David Archeri on the morning show and ask him if we have a case to be had against the Sixers or against the NBA, against somebody. Nick Nurse did outcoach Tibbs. Effort isn't on Nurse. See, I disagree slightly. The effort part, obviously, is not on Nurse. Marshawn, what I'm trying to say is that everybody is to blame at this point for the loss. Nick Nurse could have switched things up. Rotationally speaking, what did we talk about yesterday? Minute allocation. That's what we needed. Tobias Harris still played 41 minutes. I know he had a good game, but whatever. You had 33 minutes from Nicholas Batum. We never saw Paul Reed and Joel Embiid on the floor together. Paul Reed's time on the floor was awful. Buddy Hield was terrible. You couldn't get Ricky Council, campaign, KJ Martin, just a little spark, 5-minute spark off the bench. No. You play Tyrese Maxey with the flu for 44 minutes. It's not pleasant. You can blame Nick Nurse to an extent there. Buddy never made the playoffs until when I heard that in game one, I'm kind of thinking about that, Marshall. It's been in the league a while. He's no young spring chicken. I can't believe that he's never been, but that's Sacramento being a bad team. Campaign should have got some type of minutes, but Nurse is too stubborn. Kane, honestly, sure. Why not? I mean, when things are going like they've been going the last couple games, you got to try something different. You got to try to light a spark. And I'm not saying you got to go out there and give Campaign 27 minutes of run, but give him a 5-minute spell in the third quarter. Maybe he brings a spark to the team. Tupac will come back first before Melton. Dude, I would be pretty excited about that, but that's another topic for another day. Yeah, I should definitely. I'm going to reach out after the show. Let's see if I can get David Archeri on the show. Collective responsibility. It is. And I know Knicks Nation thinks Sixers Nation is solely blaming the referees for the outcome of the game. No, we're blaming the refs for bad calls at the end of the game. But if the Sixers did their job, those bad calls from the refs would have never played a factor in the outcome. So I blame it on the players just as much as I blame it on the refs. I blame it on the coaches just as much. I blame it on Daryl Morey just as much. Hell, I could backtrack the blame to Daryl Morey at the trade deadline, not getting us a better backup center option, which caused us to lose so many games while Joel Embiid was out, which caused us to have to be in the playing tournament to get the 7 seed. Maybe if Daryl Morey got a better center, we win 2 or 3 more regular season games. We're the 6 seed, and we're not playing it. There's so many people to blame, so many different things that can, be put responsibility on here. When you're up 5 points, he tried to call a timeout and successfully called a challenge. Up 5 with 40 seconds, 7 seconds, and we're hurt and heads will. Dude, look. Not blaming one person entirely at all for anything. Oh, Big Al. 1,000,000%. I got crushed. My main man, Mark Moscatelli, he'll be on the show at some point. He's good friend of mine, been part of the show off and on for years. He's a huge Villanova fan and graduate. Let me tell you something. Villanova, multiple times last night. I called it out the first time they did. I saw you call it out the second time, Al, cheering on the Knicks. Does Villanova forget where their school is located? Did it move to let's see, to Manhattan, Villanova? Did they pick that university and move it? So I'm pretty sure Villanova used the city of Philadelphia to celebrate their title parades, their parades for their titles. Villanova is dead to me. They are captain, and my golf fan supporters out there know what I mean by this. They are captain of the dead to me list. They're done. Out. I will never support Villanova again because of the fact that they supported the Knicks last night so heavily. I don't care that three of your graduates are on the Knickerbockers. No, I could care less. Read the room, Villanova. A majority of your followers, fans, and supporters are Philly people, at least on social media. They're done. They're out. They're dead. I will never. So I don't own any Villanova gear anymore, but I'll never buy Villanova gear again. They could be going up against my least. You know what? I hate John Calipari. But wherever John Calipari's coaching, I know he took a new job. I forget where. I'll root for them over Villanova now. I'll root for Duke over Villanova now. I will root for Kentucky over Villanova now. I will literally root for everyone over Villanova. They're done. They're dead to me. It's not the refs. It's Adam Silver. He even looks like he does. He really does. Just can't blame it on the rain. Nova Nation forever. Nova Nation, I'm going to turn heel mode right now. Nova Nation can turn that, in the words of 1998 heel rock, Nova Nation can take those tweets, turn those some bitches sideways, and stick them straight up. You know what? Villanova sleeps. They do. They're sleeping with the fishes. As soon as I saw it, first thing I did, I thought of Al Pacino. Don't ever go against the family. Well, they went against the family. When you go against the family, you got to pay the price. No more Nova support from me after that. Still respect Jay Wright. Well, Jay Wright's not part of Villanova anymore, so we can respect Jay Wright. But, no. Nova's dead to me. I'm looking for cheaper tickets. SherryTickets.com. Yeah, sleeping with the fishes. A square deal. Called Luca. It's Brazzi. It's Luca Brazzi. That's my Pompensero impersonation right there. They're candy assets. Yeah, they're candy assets. Yeah, stick it straight up. They're candy assets. There we go. Thank you, Charles, for that one. I appreciate that. Look, Nova last night, man. That was pathetic. Like, who's running the Villanova Twitter account? Like, I don't know. Read the damn room. God damn. This was supposed to be such an enjoyable first week on Edge of Philly Sports. I took a 2-week hiatus. I joined this great network. And we've got to have this negative-ass show to start out the series here. Because the Sixers just can't do something and win. Bunch of jabronis. That is right. So the majority of Kobe supporters is different from the Nova thing. How? How are we bringing Kobe Bryant into a conversation about Villanova? Huh? I don't get your train of thought there. I didn't mention Kobe's name once. I'm talking about Villanova, and that's it right now. Did you open any more boxes? I did not. After yesterday's show, I went to work, came home from work, watched the game, and went to bed. I ain't doing any boxes today. We're not doing any box moving for at least 2 or 3 more days. We need a little break. This is depressing. Can we talk the draft? We are going to mix the draft talk on in here as we go on, for sure. If you got draft questions, go ahead. I guess we're looking forward to that Philly trip to. Look at you guys. I love you guys. Queuing up all my advertisements. Let me find it. Here we go. Let me take your comment. Oops, wrong button there. What the freak did I just do there? Let's take this off. Looking forward to that trip to Brazil. So here we go. How about that? Where is the graphic for it? There it is. If you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. Travel with PhillySportsTrips.com. The pros in this. They have trips, premium travel packages, tailgate packages, and experiences for the best fans ever, the Philadelphia sports fans. They're hosting a great travel package to Brazil to see the Eagles take on the Green Bay Packers. They have self-travel packages, full travel packages available for all teams. Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, Union, even some day trips for some of them. Saw one last year going to Washington. Why anyone would go to Washington but to cheer on your Eagles? PhillySportsTrips.com. Tell them EOP sent you. PhillySportsTrips.com. Everybody loves to do that. Is Joel Teflon or not? Look, Joel Embiid. How anybody? I saw people criticizing Joel Embiid last night. How anybody can criticize Joel Embiid is beyond me. The guy literally needed help up and down the court. Up and down the court. But yet he was out there playing 39 minutes last night. Don't ever question the guy's toughness. He's injury prone, sure. But toughness, no. That guy put it all on the line last night. Not just his knee, also his eye. You could still see his eye is massively bothering him. I'm wondering why they don't have some kind of goggles. I mean, he played pretty good as the Phantom of the Opera guy. He can't go all Horace Grant that used to wear the goggles in the NBA back in the 80s. Go goggles to protect those eyes. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I've always wanted to go to Brazil. I might be a little too old to handle the party life of Brazil. Send Matty B the link. What link? I'm not sending him a link to nothing. Marshawn, do you want draft talk? Give me draft questions. If you want to move on from this Sixers, you got to bring the questions in the comments and the thoughts. Lots of rumors floating around about the draft. We can also talk the Red Power Ranger Suarez. Dominating again. 7 shutout innings. The Phillies win again 7-0 for their 7th win in a row. We could talk Phillies. We could do that. 25 scoreless innings in a row for Ranger Suarez. We could talk that. The NFL draft. It's time for another read. Guys, enough with the reads. I got to do what I got to do. Draft or we riot. Well, give me draft. If you want, I always say the show is where your opinions matter, Marshawn. You got to give me the questions and I will answer them. Change the topic if you want. Order now. Don't miss. Did you kill the crawl banner? I missed the average. Yeah, I just haven't put one together yet. San Pablo, Brazil. I hear the ladies there are fantastico. Mwah. Bus trips are the best. With PhillySportsTrips.com. I'm just too lazy to go on trips because I like to be in my. I'm a homebody. I don't like big crowds. I like to stay at home, watch the game on my couch. That's just what I like. The Cherry Law read was very good because we're gonna ask him if we could sue for the Phillies or for the Philadelphia 76ers. EOP shows got more ad reads than the Super Bowl. Love it. Yes, hey, you got to pay the bills somehow, right, man? This ain't free, Marshawn, doing this kind of stuff. It ain't. Joel is Teflon. Joel is not Teflon. Joel is one tough SOB. Yeah, exactly, Duck. Embiid wasn't the problem. And I see people blaming Joel Embiid. I will blame Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey for those final 6 seconds of the game for not being able to get a shot up till the clock expires, till the game clock expires. I mean, let's be honest. How you do not get a shot off there? Literally, Maxey and Embiid looking at each other. Neither of them wanted to take that shot. They were both gassed, but you got nobody else but the two of them to take a shot. Make it make sense to me. We are making excuses, is what we're doing. Look, Marshawn, didn't you say at the beginning of the season, how are they going to disappoint us this time? Wasn't that you that said that in the comments of this show like 6 months ago? Well, here's how they're disappointing us this time. If Howie drafts Koopa DeJean and not move him to safety, then he will be a bust. I thought he was a safety, and people are talking about moving him to corner. That's the other way, I guess. I don't know what to think about the Eagles in their NFL draft right now. Like, there are so many rumors floating around. Trade up, trade back, all different things. There's so many players on the table. I think it's going to be the first 15 picks, some of the most unpredictable there have been in years because you got the quarterbacks, you got a couple wide receivers. There are going to be a lot of defensive players that fall. And will Howie jump up in the draft to get one? The one he wants? It's a very strong possibility. But also on the flip side, there might be so many defensive players dropping in the draft that he likes that he might trade back and see how it plays out. I'm not sure how this draft Thursday night will play out. I normally have a pretty solid idea. Now, I do agree that with what I said yesterday, that far too many people are mock drafting, not mock drafting responsibly. Yeah, they might draft a defensive player in the first round. They might draft a cornerback for the first time in 22 years in the first round since Lito Shepard. But there's still going to be a lot of offensive players taken early in this draft by the Eagles, day one and day two. So don't be shocked if it's the center, Jackson Powers Johnson, or whatever his name is. Don't be shocked if he trades up to get one of the elite offensive tackles if one starts to fall. Don't be shocked if he drafts a wide receiver or another defensive tackle. There's a strong possibility of all of that on Thursday night. Some other Chads on the network agree we need a tight end. We might need a tight end, just not in the first round or two. Guess who's watching the Sixers and not the draft? This guy. I'll figure. I guess my new TV and with YouTube TV, I'm supposed to be able to do like a split screen. I think I will have both on. There's no doubt about it. I will be watching both. Why does Cherry want us to pick at 22? Bryce out of the lineup, having a kid, and Cody Clement rocks a 3-run home run. Yeah, big. I saw somebody actually. There were a bunch of fans. They're just being annoying, they're fake fans or bot accounts crushing Bryce Harper for taking a game off to see his kid be born. Whatever, stupid stuff. One person actually calculated how much money the Phillies paid him to skip a game to go watch it. That's like stupid. But look at Cody Clemens, man. I love to see it. I crushed Cody when he was brought to Philly last year and made the team last year. Whatever. But you love it when a kid, I don't even think he's a kid. I think he's pretty old now, like 28, 29 maybe. But when a kid gets their chance, they're called up to the majors and they make the most of their opportunity. 3-run home run. You can't hate that at all. And another 7-0 victory. The pitching, phenomenal. Trey Turner, fantastic season so far. Johan Rojas actually getting hits on a regular basis. I mean, everybody. Alec Bohm, I'm telling you, Alec Bohm's going to drive in 115 runs this year if he keeps up this pace. The Phillies offense, 100 times better than the Sixers offense. And the Phillies pitching, 100 times better than the Sixers defense. The Phillies, Philadelphia sports power rankings right now, the Phillies are ahead of the Sixers in the power rankings. I just say this, the disappointment is really creative, Phil. Look, I thought you said, how are they going to disappoint us this year? Well, last night was just another notch on the belt for them disappointing us. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Any Eric sightings? I think Eric is in Dubai maybe right now. I saw something on his Facebook page. Something. He's somewhere. He's not in the country right now, from what I remember seeing. Howie will do what Howie will do, but prepared to possibly be welcoming Patrick Surtain to Philly AJ style. That's right. Look, Duck, you know me. I've been pushing hard for Patrick Surtain. I saw someone do a mock trade yesterday, 22-53, and I forget, like a 4th rounder next year. Done. I don't know if that's enough or not. But man, don't be shocked. The AJ Brown trade and DeAndre Swift last year. He loves trading for established players. You're in win now mode. The Philadelphia Eagles are in win now mode, without a doubt. And I was looking at my man David's like updated depth chart of the Eagles, and there's a lot of cornerbacks on the roster right now. But honestly speaking, there's none that you're 1,000% confident in. And no offense to any of the rookie cornerbacks, Arnold, McKinsey, or whatever his name is, Kool-Aid, any of them, Koopa, any of these cornerbacks. They all have hype. There's no guarantees that they're going to be what Patrick Surtain is. And Patrick Surtain already knows the Fangio defensive system. So you go out there. If it's going to take 22-53 and a pick next year, get the deal done. And all of a sudden, your defense like that goes from being pretty good to elite if you add Patrick Surtain. And he's pretty young, too. He's like 24, 25 years old. Yeah, you got to give him a big contract, but there's money. Salary cap is fake, just like refereeing in the NBA is fake. So, let Howie manipulate it. Let's go get a Super Bowl. You'll go get Patrick Surtain on the Eagles. All of a sudden, your defense goes from good to Super Bowl worthy. So I would not worry in the Super Bowl one iota of whoever the top wide receiver is for the opposing team, anywhere in the playoffs. I will be flipping between both. I do have to host a show the next day. We'll have Shane Half on Friday breaking down whatever it is the Eagles do with their first pick, trade it, up, down, player, take it 22. We'll have Shane on at 9 a.m. on Friday discussing that and the rest of the first round. The Core 12, for anybody new, Core 12 are the people that are here every single day. Eric is out of the country, I believe. That's what I saw on his Facebook page. So we're missing still a few of the Core 12 that haven't found their way over to EOP yet. Mitch, you are crazy. Yeah. Please don't mock and drive. Mock responsibly. The new PSA. Dude, Big Al, nothing annoys me more. There's two things that equally annoy me massively. The Pro Football Network mock draft site and the ESPN NBA trade machine. Because no one does it responsibly. I see people, I saw it again yesterday. Hell, I think Deebs did it yesterday. Had 6 straight defensive players going to the Eagles. There is zero chance if we take those first 4 picks and keep them exactly where they are, 22, 50, 53, 120. There is zero chance that at least one, if not 2, are offensive players. Zero chance. But what you do is when you mock irresponsibly, you're giving the fans that follow you false sense of hope. People think there's a chance that we're going to completely rebuild our defense and get 6 top-tier defensive players. No. And then the NBA trade machine, come that time of the year, I just bitch and moan about that all the time. But mock drafts and NBA trades, they're just so, and they do and everybody puts these trades through. They're just not happening. It's not. How many people I've seen mock a trade in the first round of the draft with the 49ers and the Eagles? The 49ers and the Eagles aren't doing business on day one of the draft. We're not going to help the 49ers get better, and they're not going to help us get better. It drives me completely nuts. My loyalty is to the beard. It's slowly growing back in. You'll be disappointed on Thursday. No matter what you watch on Thursday, somebody will be disappointed. Yeah, say it ain't so. Get Ryan on the show to talk Sanders and Edrin Koopa. Ryan's always welcome on the show. For old time's sakes. It's the smart move. Eric was always smarter. Yeah, was it? What happened to my mouse? There it is. It's April. For God's sakes, let the Major League Baseball season play. Overreact when they struggle. Overreact when they're hot. Stay consistent so you can make it to October. I don't think we're doing anything too outlandish talking about the Phillies. Phillies are playing fantastic baseball, and it's great to see, Matty B. It's great to see because the one thing I wanted from this Phillies team was just not to start slow. And they're not starting slow. Now, we will see if they can maintain it. Normally, they start slow and they build up to a crescendo. Do they start hot now and keep it going? Do they taper off? Do they still build up to even more dominant? I don't know. Just think about it this way. The Phillies are winning a lot of games right now. I don't know if the Braves played last night, so I don't know if they're in first now, the Phillies or not. I know going into last night, they were back 1 game of the Braves. Just think about this. Nick Castellanos still stinks. Bryce Harper still isn't playing great yet this year, offensively at the plate. The bullpen has been sketchy at times. Let me tell you something. There is room for this team to get even better. Now, still not fond of the idea of Taijuan Walker getting bumped into the rotation, but we'll see how it plays out. Rob Thomson is smarter than me. Eric came to us with the media. Is that what it is? That's right. Yeah, you guys and all the Godfather quotes getting pushed here. Tell Phil I always liked him. Yeah, Is that what it is? If the Phillies and the Eagles won in 22, then we would not be bothered by this city's basketball team. It's a fair point, Marshawn. If the Sixers would have gotten out of the second round once over the last 75 years, we'd be a little less bothered by this basketball team. For sure. Would be shocked if they go cornerback on corner. They are high on Ringo. Joey, yeah, I'll be curious to see how the first round goes. What it kind of dictates whether they're high on Ringo, Ricks, Rogers, McPherson, any of those guys. And if they don't go corner in the first round and they don't make a trade for a Patrick Surtain, Joey, I would be pretty shocked that it means you're probably getting James Bradbury and Darius Slay starting week 1 in Brazil. That is just the case. Would be. Oh, you just said the same thing twice there. That's fine. Mock as you will. Don't listen to Phil. Philly sports suck. Don't let that stop your fantasy. No. Mock responsibly. Gotta get like a PSA. Mock responsibly. What fan base is rational about their reactions? Boring fan bases are. Boring fan bases are rational. That's all. If you're a rational fan base, then I don't want to be a fan of that team. But there's plenty of them. Masters doesn't start till the back nine on Sunday. Baseball season doesn't start till August. Stop. I mean, that's a great analogy, K1. I won't disagree with your analogy there. I really won't. Except this year, the back nine at Augusta was boring as hell because Scotty Scheffler never. He's the best golfer in the world. I mean, if you had to put the top 5 athletes, period, in sports right now, in a sense of most dominating in their sport, Scotty Scheffler would be at the top of that power rankings right now. Like, really, legitly. 2 major championships, we start to feel like Bostonians. Yeah, exactly. It's why it's so much sweeter when we do win, Marshawn. It really is. It's really much sweeter when we win. Well, I don't have the budget for a producer. I think I do a pretty good job producing on my own. Stop. Don't let anyone tell you what to do. Mock away. People show you right. Fight the power. You guys hate my mock responsible feelings. You really do, guys. I love it. I love the hate I'm getting on it, but it's the truth. Like, seriously. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry thinks that they're mock draft experts. Hell, the mock draft experts don't mock responsibly. That's why they're always wrong. Other than in quarterback deep classes. Still on the site. You got to click the link in the description below. We're going to talk a lot of Scotty Scheffler tonight on Fairway to Heaven at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. tonight. Check out this great lineup here at Philly Sports Network tonight. There are so many shows tonight. You got Attacking the Third at 2, Fairway to Heaven at 6, Kelly Green Hour at 7, Birds of the Round Table at 8, Chalk Talk at 9, and Phillies post game after the game. There are so many shows on the net. There are 8 shows today on the network. So make sure you're locked into this channel all day long. I still got time for the break, for the reset. Do you guys ever get used to the meltdowns? It's such a hollow feeling. You tell yourself that it's okay. What the hell happened? We're having trouble streaming. No, there's a Twitter issue now. Oh, well, I guess we're not streaming on Twitter anymore. I don't know what that is. That just popped up on the top screen there. Oh, yeah. You tell yourself you're going to get over it. But, man, when it happens, I told myself I wasn't going to be emotionally invested in the Sixers. But it's what happens. It's what happens when you're a fan. We are teeing you up here. You guys are teeing me up constantly. I love it. With great mocks come great responsibility. All right, it's Peter Parker, Uncle Ben. You know what I hate. Mock drafts, they're never close. They're never close. Even Mel Kiper. What do we know what Mel Kiper's? Now we're right back onto Twitter. I don't know what happened there. What Mel Kiper's accuracy rate is? Or what's his name? The other guy? I forget. Didn't he get let go by ESPN? Like, do we know what Mel Kiper's accuracy rate is? It's probably pretty low. Because these guys don't know. They might have a few sources here and there. But, man, they don't know. All right, we're going to do the reset right now. You're watching Trending in the AM. right here on Philadelphia, or oh Jesus, right here on Edge of Philly Sports. Great. Can't wait to see the comments on that mistake here. Make sure you hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe, follow button, wherever you're watching, whatever platform, right here on Edge of Philly Sports. And our final sponsor of the show, Dolan's Bar in Ridley Park. When you're staying local and you want to watch a great game or just hang out with some great people, go to Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park, right off 95, south of the Philadelphia Airport, 1097. My old stomping grounds. Dolan's Bar, nestled in the small town of Ridley Park. They are the quintessential Irish-American dive bar. For the last 65 years, Dolan's has thrived because of one reason: the great patrons who are like family. Great music, great times, great drinks, food, memorabilia giveaways. Yeah, you might even see a Philly sports icon walk through the door. Go to Dolan's, 24 East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park, 19078. Tell PJ that EOP sent you. Follow them and check them out, dolansbar.com, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. And right back to it. We got 30 minutes left in the show. So much we can continue to cover. Oh, this is good. Yeah. I mean, seriously. If they got any Nova flags hanging, I'm not going there unless they rip those suckers down. Damn straight. Nobody remembers them by Monday. The mocks, yeah, that's the thing. Like, no one holds anybody. Like, everybody holds me accountable if I make one slight slip up. But, man, somebody else mock drafts irresponsibly. No one calls them out for that. That's all I want. I want people to think respectfully and responsibly when they're doing this. The Knicks are playing football in Madison Square Garden. It felt like that at times, mister. It really did. It really, really did. That being said, Phil, do more. You want me to do? We'll do a mock draft tomorrow. Sure. You want me to do? I will do 2 mock drafts tomorrow on this show. I will do a mock draft, and then I will do an irresponsible mock draft to appease those people. That's what we'll do tomorrow. Then Thursday, we'll talk real fine details of the draft and what we think. What is your favorite item from there, Phil? I have not been there in a long time. I haven't grown. I lived in Ridley till like the mid 90s. I think we moved out of Ridley in 1995. So that's old. This, when I say my stomping grounds, I'm talking about Ridley Park area. Who cares once they are retired? Mel Kiper is a famous as a marketing. He's made himself a boatload of cash off of being. I was chatting with my buddy Jim, my realtor, and my friend. It's like there's two jobs that you could be as inaccurate as you want and still get paid boatloads of money. Mock draft experts like Mel Kiper and weather people. They're wrong all the time, yet they make a lot more money than you and me combined. Gotta respect the grift. Instead of Tuesday at 2 p.m., what if we market it as even to watch? I don't even know what that means. I always mock responsibly. Don't mock and drive, as Big Al said. Don't. Mock responsibly. What that means is, don't draft 3 cornerbacks and 2 linebackers in the first 5 picks of your draft. Like, seriously. Like what's and I did like 2 months ago a mock draft on the side. I shared it on my Twitter page at Beard and Knowledge. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all social media platforms. I did one like a month and a half ago. I titled it the Sam Hinkie mock draft. I picked up 9 future, 2 firsts, 3 seconds, 3 thirds for next year. I don't think my first pick was till the 50s. And people loved it because I was planning for the future. Dude, why? Like, even when I'm sarcastic about it, people don't believe me or people don't understand. Mel Kiper suggested maybe the fans would not want to watch draft on TV in the late 80s. They thought look, the draft is there's a reason why they've turned it into a 3-day event, made it these big, huge events in like the cities that they're hosted. It's like the Super Bowl. People pile in. It's in Detroit this year. Yeah, I think Detroit. I wonder if my man Jason's taking Jacks. But, it's a big deal. It's a big event, especially round 1. I do miss it just being 2 days. I think 3 days is a bit much. But it is what it is. And I get the business aspect of it more eyes, more TV, more advertising dollars, etc. But these guys don't know. I mean, they're pretty positive that Caleb Williams is going one. And we're just rolling off the jokes on the mocking responsibly here. If you have a mocking problem, call 1-800-MOCK-DRAFT and speak to one of our trained professionals right now. Wait, what? We can't have 3 linebackers? No, we can't have 3 linebackers in the draft. God damn. But see, the thing is, we're all joking about this right now, but this is not a joke. What I see on social media on the regular, all I see regularly is constant, unrealistic mock drafts that people push as legit, as a chance to happen. My man Peanut, today in NFL draft history, 1989, Troy Aikman was drafted first overall by the Dallas Cowboys. That's a big moment in Dallas Cowboys history for sure. I'm just going to comment on this that Dallas Cowboys fans have been all over my timeline the last 3 days, crushing me for my Sixers takes because they love to see the Sixers do so bad. All Dallas Cowboys fans are New York Knicks fans right now. Let me know when your team is relevant again. The last time you were relevant was because they drafted Troy Aikman in 1989. Dallas. Cockroaches. But yeah, interesting moment right there in the history. Are you streaming on 2 different YouTube channels? We're on the Edge of Philly Sports. I've got a side channel too, but we are on the Edge of Philly Sports channel. That's where you want to be watching. That's where you want to be checking this out on a regular basis, or on Facebook, Edge of Philly, Twitter, Edge of Philly, Twitch, Edge of Philly. If they ever make it easier to stream on Instagram, Edge of Philly. If you've been falsely accused of irresponsible mocking, David Archeri says you may be entitled to compensation. I love it. Do you think we get the Axeman's son? And if we do, does that make Howie move to legendary status? Peanut. It's funny. First off, on a side note, I kind of feel like the Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Draft status is dropping a lot, not just in Philly, across the board. 2 months ago, everybody had Jeremiah Trotter Jr. coming to Philly. Okay. I don't want or not want the Axeman's son in Philly. My problem is that most of Philadelphia Eagles Nation wants Trotter Jr. because of who his father is. They don't know who he is, the player. He is basically Nakobe Dean, an undersized linebacker that's a good, strong, solid tackler. Now, if they draft Trotter Jr. in the 3rd round, 4th round, if he falls, whatever, that tells me that they're not confident that Nakobe Dean can stay healthy and take that next step. For me, Trotter Jr. is more an appease the fans kind of move. Now, Howie did say something the other day about, he likes those people with that strong, deep-rooted family and Trotter and all that. Look, I get it. I think that's who he was hinting at with that quote. Let me tell you something. Drafting Jeremiah Trotter Jr. will not make or break the Eagles. They won't make the Eagles in 2024. It could break the Eagles if they draft him too soon. And it doesn't make him it'll make him a legend in the Eagles fans' eyes on draft night. But then once we look at the team and the roster and the holes, it's just going to make him dumb. I don't want Trotter Jr. here unless it's at pick 120. And unless we have had a perfect draft up to that point. But if we stay put at 22, 50, 53, and 120, if he falls to 120, that's a red flag. If we take him at 53, we've taken him way too early and have passed up on other better linebackers that might fit our needs better. So Jeremiah Trotter Jr., such an overhyped name in Philadelphia in sense just because of his name. I have it on speed dial. I've done about mock draft. Some people, like I've been doing a mock draft almost every day, but man, people pump out a lot of mock drafts. For the record, my mocks are equitable, sustainable, and environmental friendly. Yeah, is that right? Nakobe Dean, good pick. Pause, pause, pause. I don't think I was supposed to say pause, but not. Look, I still think there's hope for Nakobe Dean. Um, I do. I do want the Eagles to draft a linebacker somewhere between 90 and 150. I am not using my first 2 or 3 picks on a linebacker. I know a lot of people, including myself, have mocked Edrin Cooper to the Eagles, a couple other guys as well in that 50 or 53 pick, but I don't think it's necessary. I think you kinda gotta figure out what you got with Nakobe Dean. You signed Devin White. Um, you pick another guy in that 100 range, like a Trotter Jr. or somebody else that might fall, and you go from there. The line I know we discussed this, on my previous network, that Devin White is not an elite linebacker anymore, or he might not be anymore, but he's already, by bringing him in, made our linebacker crew better than last year. So, we're there. He's washed. Maybe. Maybe. You very well may be right, K1, that he is washed. But he's still better than what we rolled out there last year. That is the thing. He is better than what we got or had. And we don't need Ben Van Summeren out there in a playoff game. If Devin White makes it that far. But that's another whole subject. So many offensive tackle, quarterback, and wide receivers will go off the board. Philly will get a good defensive player, for sure. I remain a Nakobe truther. Man, I love Nakobe Dean, man. I did. I mean, coming in, I liked him in the draft. I thought he was a first-round talent. He went to us in the 3rd round. Didn't get many opportunities his rookie year. Last year, I remember getting so hyped on the first day of training camp because he had the green dot on his helmet from day one. That tells me how much they have confidence in him. Now, the draft will dictate if they're still that confident in him going forward, because I think he needs to fight for his spot. Not be given. Last year, he was given his spot. This year, he's got to fight for it. Problem is, if you don't bring in an early top day 2 draft linebacker, then there's no one to really push him. Is that Cunningham signed anywhere? I'd love to bring him back as a depth piece as well. Sorry, I'm a Dean denier. It's all about health with Nakobe Dean. If he could stay healthy, he's a tackling machine. You have to pick a hill to yeah. You're both picked the complete opposite hills to die on here. White will surprise. I see that's the thing. Like, oh Jesus. I'm not yay or nay on Devin White. Some people are like, oh, he's the greatest, former All Pro, blah blah blah. So I'm saying he's completely washed. K1. I live on the side of saying that he's going to make our defense better than it was last year. Now, good enough to win a Super Bowl? I don't know. We'll see. We're going to find out. I remain impressed at how Philly sports disappoints its fan base. We are disappointed, Marshawn, on a regular basis. It's what makes the victory so much. The few victories we've had, it makes it so much sweeter. So much sweeter. It's why we celebrate our triumphs so much more than anybody else. We're the passion. I want to get on a side note here about Knicks fans from last night. All night long, every time Joel Embiid touched the ball, bleep Embiid, constantly chant it and shout it throughout Madison Square Garden. Whatever. We're not prone to not taunt the opposing team. If you're a good player, it motivates you to be better. Let me tell you something. We're passionate, Philly. But we get criticized as being the worst fans in the world. If we were chanting F Brunson, and we might do that on Thursday as a retaliation, everyone's going to be saying, oh, the Philly fans are awful people. But no. I sometimes like to flip back and forth between the local broadcast and the national broadcast. Stan Van Gundy, I happened to flip to the TNT, and Stan Van Gundy was laughing and supporting the Knicks fans for giving Joel Embiid some choice words of criticism last night. I think it was the words that Stan Van Gundy used. But yet, if that was in Philly, Stan Van Gundy would be like, oh, typical Philly fans. Like, come on now. Double standard everywhere across the board. Philly fans would have gotten crushed nationally if they were chanting the way the Knicks fans were last night. I know I shouldn't be annoyed by it, but I am. No one likes us, and we don't care except for me. If you mock more than 3 times a day, you may go blind. Oh, man. What has my life become? You should live in DC for a while. Why would I want to do that? I almost actually did move to the DC area when I was a youngin. Um, had a job offer at Georgetown. Um, no, maybe not Georgetown, George Washington. I forget. I had some college in DC, and I looked at a bunch of apartments. And the only reason why I didn't accept the job was because it was so damn expensive to live down there. Sorry, sadly, no lies detected. When was the last time draft in Philly? Few years ago. It was recently. I forget how many years ago, but it wasn't that long ago. The only guaranteed pick is the first pick, Caleb Williams. The rest of the draft is a crapshoot. Well, the top 3 quarterbacks might be available at 22. I should go, stop. Stop. I wish I had my stop shirt logo up for that one. Stop. We've already got a top 20 draft pick and Kenny Pickett on the team. We don't need another one. The disappointment never gets boring, Phil. It doesn't. It's constant disappointment. Which one do you think will be available at 22? I don't know. I don't think any of the elite. I mean, Bo Nix and Michael Penix might be there 22, but that's it. JB Che, the center in the first, JT Sanders and Xavier Legette in the second. Legette's a wide receiver. Forget who Sanders is. Dude, this very well could be the real thing. It's Howie's MO. I always tell people, when you mock draft, think what Howie would do. Howie loves offense. You win with offense. You win. You make money. Always gives Jokic the walk 3000. Yeah. Stan Van Gundy, he's such a smart guy, and I do respect him as an analyst, but he's also such a pain in the ass to listen to. Without a doubt, a pain in my butt. Is Caleb a sure thing? Is the pick number 1? Yes. As an actual quarterback in the NFL, no. I think Caleb Williams is going to struggle. His maturity is not there from what I have seen. The Bears are a terribly run organization. They're changing things up again. We'll see if the new era of Chicago Bears makes Caleb Williams have a chance. But I think Caleb Williams has bust potential written all over him. Look at Zach Wilson get traded to the Broncos for like a 6th-round pick or something yesterday. Denver Broncos are establishing a quarterback factory. Some defects in that factory being made, but they are. Look at that. Stidham, Zach Wilson. I don't know who else they got, but they got a bunch of scrubs over there in Denver. Denver might not win a football game in 2024. That's why you pounce on Patrick Surtain right now. But Caleb Williams is not a sure thing of success in the NFL, in my opinion, at all. I have no idea. The draft is that unpredictable. Exactly. The draft really is so unpredictable. Who said that? Who said what? Marvin Harrison Jr. Ryan, your profile pick is out of pocket. What is his profile pick? Yeah, it's a pretty good pick, actually. It is actually a pretty good pick. My favorite wide receiver is Nabars. 2017 was Philly in the NFL draft. Gotcha. Pooped the bed on 2 champion teams with the Heat and the Magic. Yeah, Stan Van Gundy. Yeah, I'm surprised his brother never got another coaching job again. Bears never built O-line. Bears are just terrible organization. More likely 4 go before 22. Absolutely agree with you. It's going to be Caleb Williams, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, and Jaden Daniels. They're all going to go probably within the top 15. You're going to get 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks, 1, 2, and 3. And then where's Minnesota? 11 or 12, K1? If they don't trade up for their guy, then they'll draft one at 11. So that'd be 4 going in that top 11. That's my prediction. And at least 3 of them are going to be complete busts. Honestly, I might be totally out of line, and it might show my lack of knowledge of college players. But I feel Bo Nix and Michael Penix have a better shot of being successful NFL quarterbacks than the other 4. If I had to place a bet on those 4 versus those 2, that which group's going to have more success? It's going to be the other 2. It's just my opinion. Only Nathan Peterman can. Yeah, exactly. That guy's still collecting a paycheck. Those who can't coach, commentate. Yeah, just like those who can't. That's what teachers are, right? Take quarterbacks for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, honestly. So there might be 5 quarterbacks off. There's a chance that 6 quarterbacks go in the first round, 5 in the top 20. Honestly, Marshawn, it was a rejected pick for the draft live show. Was it? It's a pretty cool pick. Or teams take the 49ers route and draft the franchise quarterback in the 7th round. Yeah. Unless mini trades for your boy Herbert. Oh, that's true. That is true. I've heard that rumor floating around a lot. I finished my cup of coffee today before the show ended. Didn't we talk about this a touch yesterday? Those rumors floating around that Mini and the Chargers might trade. That would be a big mistake for both teams. It really, 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 really would be a big mistake for both teams. But, I'm not worried about them making mistakes. NFL Films has great prospects video free on YouTube. I don't predict Mays will do good. Drake May, yeah, I like most of these quarterbacks. They're nothing to it. They're going to go to let's think about this. Caleb Williams is going to the Bears. Terribly run organization. One of them's going to Washington. Terribly run organization. Maybe changing, but still terribly run organization. New England's going to get one. We don't know what kind of organization they are because they're, for the first time in 300 years, they don't have Bill Belichick calling the shots. Minnesota. Anybody that gives Kirk Cousins the amount of money that Minnesota gave Kirk Cousins is not a well-run organization. So a lot of these teams, these quarterbacks are going to teams that are poorly run. The Bo Nix of the world, the Michael Penix of the world are going to go places later in the first round or in the second round to teams that trade up for them to be projects, to be guys that sit behind. Someone like the Rams could draft the quarterback late in the first, early second to be the replacement for Matthew Stafford. Someone in Tampa, maybe Tampa drafts a quarterback to be the heir apparent to Baker Mayfield. Maybe there's plenty of other teams that I could use that same scenario. Here's an interesting one for you. Talking quarterbacks and the draft and talking about Justin Herbert maybe getting traded to the Vikings. I saw one random person I follow say we keep talking about Justin Herbert getting traded. Is there a scenario where Dak Prescott gets traded during the draft? They haven't given him an extension. He's playing on the last year of his deal. They traded a bunch to get Trey Lance. Well, not a bunch, like a bunch considering his skill level. He could have been had for free. They got Trey Lance to sit there and fill the void and see if he develops. Is there a chance that Dak Prescott gets traded to one of these quarterback needy teams? Just a thought that I want to throw out there. But Bo Nix and Michael Penix are going to be set up for a better chance to succeed because they're going to go to a good organization. We don't want a quarterback from North Carolina. Commies unloaded Hal. Yeah, they did. Good morning, Patty. What's up, my man? Yes, man. You work harder than anybody in this business, man, covering all the teams that nobody else wants to cover, my man. You are the best. I'll do Sixers fans be more classless than Knicks fans when they come to Philly. They're going to say F Brunson, and we're going to get criticized for it. Good thought on Dak. It's just something that randomly popped up into my head. Dak could get traded. If somebody called Dallas and offered a second or a third round draft pick for Dak Prescott, the Cowboys probably pounce on that. Well, Jerry Jones probably pounces on that, turns the keys over to Trey Lance, and that would be the best case scenario for Eagles fans is that happens because Trey Lance thinks even worse than Dak Prescott. I think Tua could be moved. Nah, I think Miami's locked in for a couple more years with Tua. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm unfollowing or blocking anything not Philly sports related. Yeah, that's true. Raiders hopping up. I can see the Raiders going and maybe the Raiders make a trade for Dak Prescott. Just saying. It's what's so interesting about the draft. There's so many things that could be on the table. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have nothing. Well, it's a good thing the Eagles have a quarterback. At least they got that. They got a second-round quarterback that leads their team. They got a former first-round pick as their backup, and they got the McKeisters waiting in the wing. Why wouldn't you move Dak? They could that move could excite a new fan base. It could. You guys are too much. I love you all. They don't want to pay Tua. I thought they already paid Tua. Maybe they did. Yeah, maybe I don't know. All right, we're in the final 5 minutes. Final thoughts on this show. Sixers. Are the Sixers done? Are the Phillies for real? And what are we going to talk? What are we going to do tomorrow? We're going to mock draft for the Eagles responsibly tomorrow. We'll do one with no trades. We'll do one with trades. That's what we'll do. That is why you tell your friends. We're going to let the voting. We're going to let you guys tell me what to do in each scenario with the draft tomorrow. That is what we're going to do. The mock draft. Thursday, we'll talk more finer points of it, but tomorrow we'll do some mocks. We should draft the quarterback in the first round that Dallas wants just to piss straight. Yeah, that's a smart way to run your team. Let's just piss our competitors off in the mock draft with our drafts. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I get what you're getting at there. Sixers are done. Philly season's now. Yes, that's right. It's Philly season. You're supposed to put SZN. That's what all the cool kids do, Marshawn. You got to be like the cool kids in that scenario right there. Just so you know, you can't just spell out the word season because, most kids are too lazy to spell words completely out. But that's just my opinion. Exactly. See, K1 knows what I'm getting at. It's Philly's season like that. All right. I don't want to say the Sixers season's over, but it's really hard. Really, really hard to find a thread of hope that the Sixers can win the series. I think they're going to come back, win game 3. Maybe they win game 4. But, man, what's the saying? A series isn't, it doesn't really start till a team loses a home game. I just can't see the Sixers winning in Madison Square Garden now. So I don't know. I don't know how the Sixers get it to game 7. I don't see how they win a game in MSG, but we'll see. Joel Embiid better be resting that knee and getting a lot of therapy. He did not look good. It would not shock me if game 3, well, it would shock me. Joel Embiid's going to trooper it out. If Joel Embiid doesn't sit at some point, if we lose game 3, he ain't playing in game 4, man. He's done. I mean, that knee just looks so shot right now. So much pain radiating through his body. But it is what it is. Nothing we can do about it at this point. Other than go down with the ship, the sinking ship, but the ship. Eagles draft, we're going to mock responsibly tomorrow. Phillies. Got another game against the Reds tonight. Who's on the hill tonight for the Phillies? Is it, let me get back. Go from Phillies box score to Phillies homepage. See who we got tonight pitching for the Phillies. Is it Sanchez? Return ball. It's Christopher Sanchez, who's got a 2.53 ERA so far this year. Somebody's going to throw a clunker out there. Let's hope it doesn't happen anytime soon. Wrap it up. You want me to wrap it up? Normally you're asking for more show. Today you're asking for less show. What? Can't wait to live watch party Thursday. Man, it's gonna be a blast. Make sure you're locked into EOP live draft shows, post game shows, everything happening. There are 8 more shows on the network today. Make sure you check it out. Here again, I'm gonna put it up one final time. Here's the schedule for the week. But look at that schedule today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shows today. 4 more tomorrow. 5 more on Thursday. Even shows on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So make sure you're checking out and following and subscribing to Edge of Philly Sports. Check out their website, eopsports.com. Guys, I'll be back tonight, 6 p.m., Fairway to Heaven. Jason and I will be back making our debut on EOP for that show tonight at 6. Not much to talk about with the Zurich Classic, the team event in golf. But we're going to talk a lot of Scotty Scheffler. We're going to talk a lot of Liv. We're going to talk a lot of golf talk and not necessarily handicapping a golf tournament. That'll return next week. But we got lots to discuss on the show tonight. So if you want to talk some Scotty Scheffler, come to the show tonight, 6 p.m. right here on Edge of Philly Sports. Phil, you doing the draft show? I don't know if I'm going to do it. It's very hard for me to do shows live at night, like recap shows and post-game shows, because I talk about the same thing in the morning. So I try not to do too many night shows. But that's that. Beard Analysis Live, but maybe golf you do. Start the Sixers rebuild. The process was a massive failure. Sam Hinkie is a horrible human being. Wrong, wrong, and wrong. Disagree with all three of those comments. Just going to say. Bring this comment up tomorrow, mister, when there's more time, because the show's over now. Boo this man. Yeah, exactly. Just check in for reaction. I will pop into the comment section on the draft show for sure. But with that, we are going to wrap up Trend in the AM today right here on Edge of Philly Sports. Thank you. Special shout out to Dolan's Bar in Ridley Park, Cherry Law Firm, cherrylawfirm.com, cherrytickets.com, and phillysportstrips.com sponsors of this show, sponsors of Edge of Philly Sports Network. Make sure you check out all our sponsors when you can. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow. Responsible mock drafts coming tomorrow right here live. I am Phil Stiefel. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. As always, it isn't Go Sixers. It's Go Birds.